Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Boot Nerds podcast. I'm here with my good friend JayMike. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you, mate. How are you?
I'm doing quite well.
How's my hair?
It's looking great.
Oh, well, it's still there. Still there. Yeah. A bit more, for a bit more time. But yeah, that's gone. But that's not what we're here to talk about today, Josh. We are here to talk about very, very nice things, which aren't gone anytime soon. Football boots. We're going to talk about big stars. We're going to talk about lovely questions. But all that is going to come in just a few seconds because what we need to talk about, first of all, is that you shouldn't forget to, ask your questions that you want us to answer in the next couple of Boot Nerds podcast episodes in the comment section right down below. You should, of course, also don't forget to slap a like on the video if you enjoyed what we do. And also, of course, spread the words to your friends, your mom, your cousin, your pet, even if it knows how to press the subscribe button. Spread the words on the Boot Nerds podcast so we can get out there and inform people of the best thing in the world, football boots. So yeah, don't forget that. And of course, if you want to make sure that I somehow can fund a hair transplant, well then, help us out, please, guys.
And if you don't want to see Jay's hair, you can listen to the audio-only version. All of them are available at bootnerds.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, some other ones as well. Pretty much all of them. Bootnerds.com. Go ahead and check it out. It's linked down below.
Exactly. And with those words out of the way, let's jump right into this week's topic, which is whether Nike should ditch Neymar as a signature line player, or if they should basically keep him around and have him as one of their, big faces of Nike football. And the reason we kind of, you brought this up is when you kind of talked about what to discuss in this episode, you mentioned that, there's been quite a lot of talk about Neymar and his signature boots lately because of not only the fact that they maybe haven't been doing as well as I think Nike and us at Unisport store and every other basically store out there selling the boots have wanted to. And also he's kind of always been injured when they've released a new boot for him. So, I mean, there's the fact that Neymar has a signature boot. Ronaldo doesn't. Mbappe doesn't. Is that right? Should Nike stick with him? Is he the future of Nike football? That's what we're going to discuss today.
Okay.
So, two girls over drinks, go.
Okay, so for those that don't know, recent news, Neymar is hurt. He got hurt in a friendly match against, was it a friendly? It was a friendly, right? Against Qatar?
Yes, again.
Yes. He got hurt. He's not playing in the Copa America this summer. And I believe it's just a re-injury of what he's injured 2 or 3 times at this point.
Yeah, his ankles are basically gone, it seems.
Yeah.
Well, they're very, very vulnerable. So he's... People, even if he don't get targeted by people trying to hack him down, he can just be unlucky and roll over his ankle and stuff, and it swells up badly like it did in the friendly. So
yeah, and that's what it was.
So, yeah.
It wasn't really like it was a foul, obviously, and he jumped over the guy, but he didn't really it wasn't like a huge hit. It's just how he ended up landing. But again, there's the argument, and I've seen so many sports analysts go over this that. Okay, it's kind of an unlucky type of injury, but he's had this same unlucky type of injury 2 or 3 times now. Maybe it's not so unlucky. Maybe this is a pattern based on Neymar. Seemingly, like, he's got that showboat style, which is really what has made him so popular in the first place, especially amongst the kids. But is that also the reason why he's getting hurt so much, which when Nike's paying him big money to be basically the face of the Mercurial Vapor, essentially, because I think you can pass on the Superfly duties to Cristiano Ronaldo and guys like Mbappe and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If he's never playing, it's not really a huge value to Nike.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, they need exposure to sell the boots. That's just how it goes. Of course, it's nice that we have Neymar and everyone knows his name, but if you can't wear the boots on the pitch and actually, show them off and perform do good things in them, go viral with things that make people talk, well, then he's not really doing enough, so to speak, to promote the boots, which is one of the reasons why he's endorsed in the first place, because people want to use Nike want to use his fame and his exposure to show off their boots, right? So it really goes to show that last time he got injured with boots, they actually put him on Dani Alves, which is a good friend of Neymar, just to have him out there, because otherwise Neymar wouldn't have, well, the new boots wouldn't have been on the pitch professionally at all, which would have been a massive shame, right?
And that's important. I think a lot of people don't realize, like, if you listen to the Boot Nerds podcast, obviously you're hardcore. If you watch the SR4U or Unisport channels, you're an enthusiast. But
yes,
that is not the vast majority of people. The vast majority of people will find out about the new Neymar boot when they watch the match and Neymar's actually wearing them. But if Neymar's not in the match wearing the new Neymar boot, then most people, the average consumer, which is the biggest chunk that Nike is after in terms of driving sales, they have no idea that new Neymar boot even exists. And they might want it. If they knew it existed, they'd probably buy it and they'd probably want it. But if Neymar's never playing and never actually wearing them, it's definitely a problem for Nike.
And what we also shouldn't forget is the takedown business. So the pro, the academy levels, which is also something that sells quite a lot of. There's a lot of volume there, right? So for those people who would typically be younger kids whose parents would buy them the boots, they would typically look at Neymar, think, I want his boots, tell their mom, or maybe if they got a lot of money, go buy it themselves. But, they look at Neymar, they want his boots, but because they're not necessarily going to get the elite model, they will buy the takedown. And this is typically behavior we see with people buying the academy versions because of a player endorsement. So if the player isn't endorsing the boots and he isn't on the pitch, the boots aren't anywhere to be seen, how are they supposed to know that they're out there, and how is that desire supposed to be created? So that, of course, is a big problem. But do you think that, Nike might have it in the back of their heads that it's a problem that Neymar keeps getting the same injury? Like, do you think he should change his game in order to be more marketable, because he'll actually be able to play consistently?
Well, I think, like I kind of mentioned, I think his playing style is partially what got him so much attention in the first place. And look, this is not like a hate on Neymar type thing, because obviously the guy is a very, very talented player, world class when he's on it. But it's at a point now where the investment from Nike, the investment from PSG, the investment from the guy is the Forbes top earners list for professional athletes just came out. Neymar is number 3, right behind Messi as number 1, Cristiano Ronaldo at number 2. So obviously people have bought into the fact that Neymar is a very marketable player. And part of the reason why he's so marketable is because he's very talented. People obviously like him. He draws a lot of attention to himself. But if he's unable to play, and I get the guy's only 27 years old, but having the same injury multiple times is typically not a good sign of like things to come. Like, he's going to come back, and the likelihood of him re-injuring this exact same thing again, I would say, is probably pretty good odds, right? So it's one of those things where do you continue to make the investment in this guy? And Nike's pretty hardcore on Neymar right now because he's playing for PSG. That is a Nike club. And obviously they did the whole Jordan brand thing as well. And then he's playing for Brazil, which is another very, very important contract for Nike. So Neymar kind of has to be their guy for the most part. But I wouldn't blame them if they took his signature line and maybe he got 2 a year instead of 4 a year, or however many it ends up working out. But like, what I'm thinking is, you got a guy like Hazard. Granted, he's going to Real Madrid, which wears an Adidas kit, and Belgium wears an Adidas kit as well, right? I guess that draws some problems, but there's going to be a lot of attention on him. Perhaps Hazard is next in line. We've seen he's had some kind of like one-off signatures for just him to wear that they never actually released to the public, but would it be logical? Which he never
actually wore either. Are you thinking the white, blue, black Vapor 10s?
Yeah, he never actually wore them, right?
No,
I don't remember seeing him wear them either, but Would he be the logical guy to have a signature model in the Vapor instead of Neymar?
I think I tried to get Kylian Mbappe into the Vapor, to be honest. He would, for me, be the natural heir to Cristiano Ronaldo. Obviously, we see this kind of pattern where Ronaldo wore the level up Superflies, Mbappe wore them. It wasn't a Ronaldo boot, it was a boot for, three people. Ronaldo and Mbappe, obviously, the two main ones. And I think it would really make sense if Nike could position Mbappe to be the next lead key athlete. I think that's kind of what they're trying to do with him being in the Superfly at the moment. But I would seriously try and get him, for the time being at least, until Ronaldo calls it quits. And that could be several years, because the man is a machine. I think I'd try to get Mbappe into the Vapor and really have him and Neymar, doing that side by side. Because that would mean that, you don't have to rely on one or the other in case they get injured, as happens a lot with Neymar. We also shouldn't forget Nike's heritage with Brazilian players. I mean, Neymar is seen as the nuevo fenomeno, the new phenomenon after Ronaldo R9. He is their prodigy. He is like the big thing, the player for the modern generation, right? So I think they won't let him go lightly. I think it really takes like a big misstep from him, or like getting basically him being invalidated from football, where he can't play again, and maybe even then they'll give him a lifetime contract. I think he's at such a marketable level that no matter what he does, except for if he gets himself into some sort of legal trouble, like for real, that isn't just all talk and bullshit and all that stuff. But if he really gets into trouble, that's when they might pull the plug. But otherwise, I think he has a position already now where no matter what happens, he's not going to be out, if you know what I mean. I think he's always going to be around, a little bit like Ronaldinho. There's just something about Nike and Brazilians that speaks to everyone there. But I do agree that maybe they should focus their Neymar boots a little bit on a couple of fewer drops and make sure that they make the most of that instead of just spreading it out and spewing them out all the time.
Like I think right now, what they've tried to do with Neymar is what they did with Cristiano Ronaldo. And I think Cristiano Ronaldo, maybe aside from Ronaldinho, is really the only example of a guy that has really fronted an entire line and has had a legitimately successful signature line of colorways. Because really nobody else has. Maybe David Beckham.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, but he's not even close to Ronaldo, isn't he?
Not even close. Ronaldo
I agree with you. I agree with you, yeah.
Right? He's just by far the best. And I think with Neymar at this point, whether it's because he's injured or whether it's because he's popular with kids, a lot of I would say the older generation does not really care for the way that he plays, but no doubt the guy's a really good player, but proven that he's not necessarily selling boots like Cristiano Ronaldo can. Is it possible that it would be a better move for Nike to just not have one guy always getting the signature colorway, because they have so many Mercurial athletes?
Oh yeah.
Like, wouldn't it make sense? Like, people remember when Neymar's first signature Hypervenom came out and people were really excited. The spray painted gold one, super excited.
Yeah.
So why not every 3 months or something, they just give a signature colorway to the guy who's hot in the moment?
I understand what you say. So the thing is, with these sort of things, it's kind of difficult to work on such a short-term basis, because these things are planned like half a year to a year, sometimes even further ahead. Like these things are really, planned more or less down to the week and at least a month in the coming years where this is executed. So the boots are being produced way ahead. But I guess if you could make some quick strike drops where you have like very, very small quantities, maybe not every 3 months, but every 6 months, having where you focus on an up and coming player, something like that. It could be interesting to spread out the signature game a little bit more, instead of just having the same guy having 4 signature drops a year, especially if the sales aren't as good as you would hope. Looking back at the CR7 signature drops the last couple of years that have just flown off the shelves, right? And I think maybe Nike are oversaturating the market with Neymar signature boots at the moment. Obviously because he's not playing, but maybe also because they haven't been able to tell the story around the boot as well as I think they should have. I think the Jordan drop was very good, but the Jordan PSG, the current one, the black and red one, was very good. But also what they did the first couple of Jordan drops, the black, gray shark thing, Jordan 5 thing, and the white one, had much better storytelling. Obviously, the Gold Hypervenom ones, the Holosa de Alegria, very, very strong. And maybe that's not the same anymore. The whole thing was kind of lame, if I'm honest.
Well, again, to compare it to Cristiano Ronaldo, you've got a guy where they told the story with all of his boots, whether it was a current event or a past accomplishment, but the accomplishments have continued to happen. Like every year he's winning, he's setting records, he's doing something that nobody else is doing. And I think when you have a story like that, it's very easy to do signature models. But when you got a guy like Neymar that for the last 16 months, maybe 2 years, there hasn't really been that much positive to talk about for the most part. I think it's hard to create an interesting story around a signature model aside from just, hey, let's partner it with Jordan brand and hopefully the Jordan people will be interested and maybe they like Neymar as well, right?
And this is the thing. For me, a signature boot should be when you have something, you have a story to share, right? So for the Puro Fenomeno, when they had the mix of the 1998 Mercurial and the Superfly 2, which was the first boot Neymar wore as a professional, his favorite design, basically. It's not entirely true. I think he wore the Vapor 5s when he turned professional. But that was his favorite Mercurial, according to him, the Superfly 2. So they basically combined those two designs, had a very strong story there. They had that with Usa de Alegria, the whole design by Bruno Big on the Hypervenom 2, which he then wore technically as a Vapor 10, but that's a whole different story. They've had that for the first Jordan drop, but I just feel that for the launch and for the blue one, what was it called?
Right when he came to PSG. I don't remember what it was called, though. Written in the Stars?
Written in the Stars? Was that the one?
Was that what
Must
it was
have
called?
been that one. Yeah, I think that was the one. I can go get it on my shelf in just a second when you take over. But I feel, that wasn't a super strong story, and neither is the new. So maybe they should also not just force themselves to make colorways and signature boots for him, but make something when there's actually an occasion, because then it's just stronger and it's easier to tell. And people find it easier to relate to that, so they're not as dependent on Neymar delivering on the pitch and him not getting injured or bouncing off to his sister's birthday or whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
Again,
but that's what I'm saying. I think the limited drops allow them to do that because think about the coolest limited drops Nike has done. All the Ramos Tiempo was really cool. The Francesco Totti Tiempo Legend 5 was really cool. The Pirlo Tiempo Legend was really cool. I know I'm naming a lot of Tiempos here, but every time they do this like limited edition signature release where you get a guy that doesn't really get signature colorways all that often, you end up with a cool story. You end up with a boot that has a lot of personal details, and you don't end up with a lot of these signature Neymar colorways where it's like, they took a pretty lame story and they tried to make something interesting out of it, but at the end of the day, it's not actually that interesting.
Whatever you just said, I completely agree. Look, this is a fantastic execution because you actually have something that's not only super Nike DNA, super heritage, but also, it's a personal story for Neymar and both old guys like myself, plus 30, and the younger generation can relate to this. Very, very cool. But this, it doesn't for me scream Neymar. It's a pretty cool looking boot, if I'm honest, but it just doesn't resonate with me as a Neymar boot. So if I'm attached to Neymar, I don't think, I gotta get me one of these. I would get exactly. I would get it if I think it's nice, but then again, as a grown-up man, would I want to wear a boot that says Neymar on the heel or any other professional player's name. I don't think so. So I only want to get it if it resonates nicely. Another example is this. I'm a little bit torn because I think it looks nice, but there's just no real story behind it. It really reminds me of the 2006 Vapor 3s that in yellow and green that Ronaldo wore. But then again, it's not really the story behind it, and it was just a little bit, the story was weak, but it was saved by the boot being really cool.
Yeah, I don't know. The problem is they set the bar so high with the chapter series for CR7, and then all the Neymar signatures come out and they're just like pretty uninspired, just like, we slapped this together and it looks kind of cool. Hopefully people like it. And the response has not been great, partially due to the fact that Neymar has been hurt a lot.
Exactly.
And or hasn't played well.
And this is just how it goes, basically. You can't compete with the Ronaldo signature line, and yes, Neymar has been very, very unlucky. Let's just leave it at that. And it's a shame that such a talented player he's already had his career marred by injuries at very, very crucial moments. We all remember 2014 and that agonizing view of Neymar. Clutching his back, basically, being injured. That was heartbreaking, But I don't know. I think he definitely deserves to have a signature line or get signature boots because he is a talented player. He is, truly a once in a generation kind of player. At least he's not on par with Messi and Ronaldo, but you can argue it's a different generation. But he's one of those really, really rare players to come around, right? Because he's so talented. He has the flair. He's marketable, all that stuff. So of course he deserves to have something. But maybe Nike should just consider, okay, is this the guy we should build everything on? Should we put all the eggs in this basket, or should we also, cover our bases with, for instance, I don't know, Kylian Mbappe, which I think they're clever guys. They will.
Yeah, I think that's what's coming. Because, really up until, I would say for the last 2 years, they've really made the commitment to Neymar. And it hasn't worked out for the most part.
I don't know. I actually think it's been okay. It hasn't. I don't think it's gone necessarily badly or gone wrong. I just don't think it's lived up to its potential because of external factors that neither Neymar or to some extent, but Nike haven't really been the masters of, if you know what I mean. They haven't been in control, and it's just been unfortunate. But I think what I would do is I would simply tone down the frequency of signature launches a bit, and then only release boots when they have drops like these to share with us.
And I guess in fairness to Nike and Neymar, signature lines are tricky. People are excited when they first start. People are always excited, but it's hard to maintain that interest. I mean, look at Pogba's line, right? People were pretty pumped on it at first, and whether it's the colorways, whether it's the boots, whether it's the play of Paul Pogba himself, obviously the guy's very popular, but the hype has definitely died down on that signature series, let's say, right? So I think it's easy to launch a signature series with a very popular player in the moment type of player, but to maintain that interest over the course of an entire career, like Cristiano Ronaldo has done, very difficult to do.
Absolutely. And also, you got to make the right decision every time. You can't have, you get punished. The second you have a not so strong story, people kind of lose interest, and you have to build it up from not scratch, but you really have to work to build up the hype again, and I think that might be the case, sadly, for some of the Neymar signature stuff. So yeah, I don't know with Hazard if he's the right guy. I'm not, I think everyone appreciates how good of a player Hazard is, but the question is if he's, does he have enough edge in the media to really be a signature line kind of guy? Do you know what I mean?
No, I get exactly what you're saying.
Because Hazard's a really cool guy. I think he's smart. He's very, he underplays it a little bit. Very calm. has this sarcastic humor. You know, I think he's really, really funny, but he just doesn't have the, you know, he has the swagger. He comes out chest forward, but he's not the... He doesn't put himself out there the same way that Ronaldo and Neymar does, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I like the idea of Mbappe just based on the fact that you can tell just from following him on Instagram and social media that he's really into the boots. And when he gets something new and when he's going to headline something, he's excited about it. Like he posted Nike GS 360 like a day or two before it actually came out. Because I like that. He's actually a boot nerd. And the rumor is that he is subscribed to this channel, by the way. But I think that's interesting. And Neymar doesn't strike me as like a true boot enthusiast. Neither does Cristiano Ronaldo, to be honest. Messi, definitely not. He almost seems like he could care less about the boots that he's wearing. But Mbappe, and I guess it's because he is so young and he's part of this social media generation where new boot releases have been so frequent as he's been growing up. And for him to now be in a position where he's going to get his own signature line with a brand like Nike, like he's going to be so excited about it. Just the marketing potential from that perspective, I think would be really cool. And that's what I think you don't see with the footballer guys versus like the NBA guys that get their signature colorways, right? Yeah. They're super proud of them. They're wearing them casually. Obviously can't do that with football boots, but I think Mbappe would bring that perspective to a signature line that we've never really seen before from anyone else.
Exactly. I mean, this is at the point where the athlete really actively wants to push the fact that he has his own boots. Basically, I mean, I can relate. When we made the city pack for Unisport and with Puma, you know, I was so proud, and I think I posted much more than I've done with any other boot, you know, really highlighting how much I love this and, you know, telling this story from my own perspective and all that stuff. So I can understand if Mbappe really is enthusiastic about boots, and why wouldn't he? I've also heard that he's got an alias on this channel. So let's see. Yeah, if you're out there, big love, my man. I don't know how to say it in French. Anyway, grand amour, mon ami.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Probably, yeah. Anyway, so for the whole discussion on Neymar, should they drop him or should they, keep having him? What do you think?
No, they shouldn't drop him, and they won't drop. And I guess that should be clarified as well. We're not saying that Nike should completely get rid of Neymar and have him go sign with a competitor, because that's not happening. Not happening. No. We're just saying that maybe, and this is what I think. I think they should slow down on the signatures. I think you wait. Maybe the next signature is some kind of a comeback story, but then that's also going to be dependent on an actual comeback going well.
Yes.
Right. So
because again, I totally agree with. There's no way in hell they should not make signature boots for him. Because he is a super marketable player. He is super talented. One of the most gifted players in the world. I mean, there's no denying that. And say what you want about him, but he is just a fantastic player. He's a joy to watch when he's on song. We can't deny that. And I don't want to see Nike dropping Neymar, because it kind of continues this romantic story of them having a Brazilian profile that really takes the Nike heritage into the modern age, right? But I agree with you. Maybe they should also try and get some other, a couple of more guys in to do signature boots for.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that ends that topic. I wanted to, before we get into questions, just want to do a little bit of like recent boot experience talk.
Okay.
Because I got to try a lot of the new Puma stuff this week, and it's good. I'm surprised at how good it is. So the Puma 1. Have you tried the 1 5.1?
I haven't tried the 151. No.
The 151 is surprised. I was very worried about this because I saw so many pieces put together. I'm like, oh, it's very kind of V-construct looking a little bit, where it's like, it's almost too many elements. Yeah. But you put them on and it doesn't feel like that. It feels very seamless.
Like the 19
No. It's got, I think the leather is better this time around. They thinned it out a little bit, so it's more like the new Puma King Platinum, which we'll get into in just a second. Maybe a little bit thicker than that.
Yeah, of course.
But then this new sprint web material that they have here that goes basically down the entire lateral side of the boot, then into the toe, which I was a little bit concerned about. It makes the boot feel, you know how like the Puma 1.1 and the Puma 1 19.1 you almost had this like really tight locked in sensation from heel to midfoot. And then once you got to the forefoot where the leather is, it loosens up significantly.
Yeah.
This gives you a more consistent tightness kind of all the way through right up to the toe, but you still get the softness. So it has a more, I guess, I don't want to say more traditional speed boot vibe, but it's a more consistent amount of lockdown across the entire foot. And they've just redistributed the leather. So it's still the same amount, but now it's in the forefoot, it's in the toe box, and it's through the midfoot area as well on the medial side, which ends up making it feel like a more full leather boot rather than just having the leather at the toe.
Gotcha.
And they've also, surprisingly, it doesn't look like it, but when you put them on, it's immediately noticeable. They seem to have lowered the collar a little bit. It's actually more like, I don't know if you've seen the pair that Aguero wears. A lot of guys wearing the Puma one. They have a slightly lowered version. It looks like they've put that on the retail model now.
Interesting.
So it's really good.
It's kind of like you get more like this sidewall security throughout the outside of the boot. So when you do like when you put your foot down, there's not as much rollover or where you fall over the side as you could feel in the 18.1 and 19.1.
Yeah, it's just a more consistent tightness and definitely not nearly as much width through the forefoot. I think you'll definitely like it.
Right.
But really
okay, I'm definitely going to try myself one of those.
I just think it's kind of for such an important boot for Puma, it's a very strange way of launching a new line. And I understand the Women's World Cup is a big deal for them and they want to buy into that, but
I mean, I'm still scratching my head here because I want to try it, but then, it's the women's side. Should I try the women or should I wait? But I'm going to give it a go now and wait until the launch men's colorway comes out and we see what happens. But interesting. But what I'm even more interested in hearing is your thoughts on the Puma King Platinum.
Puma King Platinum.
As you know, I really like it.
I didn't see this. I don't think anybody saw this coming. There didn't seem to be, not that we talk about leaks on this channel, but there didn't seem to be any leaked information about this that I saw at least.
No,
so
I only knew because I'm
nowhere.
at Unisport basically. So I've been excited for a while, but I haven't been able to talk about it obviously. But yeah.
Yeah, but I saw it and I'm like, wow, that is very Evo Speed-esque. And it's also very like Mercurial Vapor 3 shaped, which I was like, wow, that's cool. And it's kangaroo leather from heel to toe, which we never see anymore. And like, Jay, tell me this isn't the best looking new boot of 2019.
Oh, I agree with you.
It just looks
It can't look better than that. I mean, all black. It's very sleek. It's very, it's stylish. It doesn't have any extra seams on the forefoot. It looks fast. It looks... I think it looks magnificent. It's
out of nowhere because Puma, I know you're a little biased towards Puma. You have your own signature model after all. I mean,
I know.
What am I going to say? But I think you can make the argument that over the last several years, Puma's designs have been on the busier side.
Yep.
There's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. Sometimes it works.
And they've made some really good looking stuff. They've made some odd looking stuff.
Yeah. But this is just... Hits home. Wow. And you can argue that, okay, 200 euros is a lot if they want to compete directly with the Premier, but they also have the Pro version, which is still kangaroo leather and actually very nice at 100 euros to compete directly with the Premier. But I think that one, taking over from the local ones, which we've talked a lot about those and we both like that a lot. I mean, this is actually a step up from the old Puma 1 CC and it's still 200 euros. You get just a no-nonsense premium leather boot, lightweight, no bullshit. To me, it felt a little like the Under Armour Magnetico combined with the one because you have that completely seamless toe box, forefoot, very thin, super pliable, low profile, but it doesn't rip after like 4 matches. So
yeah, it's very good for 200 euro, $200 is the retail price as well. Yeah, I don't view this as so much as a competitor to the Nike Premier, but more so the Tiempo as well as the Copa. And I mean, $200 for a top end model these days, not to say that that's cheap, but it's cheaper than pretty much everything else. And the quality does not reflect that. It's good. It's really, really good. It's good looking. And I don't have much to complain about here. The way they did the knitted tongue area, keeping the one-piece design, it makes it look that much more sleek. It just they did everything right with this one, and that's rare to see.
And that's the thing. You can't really complain about this boot. There's nothing really to say, okay, this is objectively speaking bad. There might be some things where you don't like a thin leather upper, then that boot is probably not for you, but you can't look at it from an objective performance perspective and say, yeah, that sucks. And especially for 200 euros. So very, very strong new entry. I'm just afraid that it's not sexy enough for the younger generation to really appreciate it. I don't know, but I just think that, compared to, say, the future with brighter colors or going up against the Copa 19.1, which I think is the Puma King's better than that. And I would probably also say for the money, I'd also take a Puma King Platinum over a Jumbo Legend 7. I know it's controversial and you probably don't agree, but does it have the sex appeal and the newness factor to it to make people want to buy it over those boots?
I get what you're saying, but I almost think that it's a mistake at this point for especially a big brand, Puma, Adidas, Nike being the main three, to try and make kangaroo leather boots appeal to a younger audience. I just feel like that's too difficult a task. And it's not worth the marketing dollars and effort and potential just changing the design of the boot for the sake of trying to win over that younger audience that's more likely to be into the future or the Puma 1, right? Yes. I think they make this boot knowing it's going to be the third place boot out of their three lines, but they live with that.
Yeah, and I mean it's around to it's here to stay, so that's good. Yeah. I'm very impressed. But I'm glad you like it too. That is not just me.
So I just wanted to talk about those two because I've been... The Puma 1 I was worried about. The King I was very excited about, but I'm very happy with both of them. Puma is having a strong 2019 so far. Other than... I'm not crazy about the future, but...
Yeah, same. But I mean, 1 and King, that's a strong lineup too, and 200 euros. I mean, you can't beat that. You can't beat that. And speaking of things you can't beat is this week's questions, because they're very good. Let's just jump straight into them. There's one from...
So if you have a question really quickly, if whether it's something we talked about, whether it's something completely different, please leave it down below in the comments. Yes. And we may answer it in the next episode of the Boot Nerds podcast.
If it's a good question, we're going to answer it. Like these questions. There's one from Super Kiko here, 1112. Who has the best boot collection between you two? And the reason I brought it was because, I thought it was a little bit fun. Because obviously we talked about this before. Josh you have the bigger collection. By far, I guess, compared to my 400 something boots. I think you have at least double, if not more than that.
It might be more than that.
I think, but I thought about it and I was like, I have some gems in my collection, like signed stuff. So I don't know what we base it on. I think in terms of size, you beat me every day. I do have, this is like playing, the car cards where you need to have the Lamborghini in order to win every time. I do have my trump cards is a Ronaldo signed Mercurial R9 and a CR7 signed gold, black, white, black, gold Vapor 9 in 100 pairs.
Mm-hmm. No, you have, if we're talking about the more rare, valuable boots, you definitely have more of those than I do.
Yeah, it's just if it trumps the 3 times more boots you have. So I don't know. I think if
Jay, did we not do an episode of the Boot Nerds podcast on this?
We did, but it was who has the biggest collection.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. So I think what I think we should say is that I don't consider this as a duel or a battle, because for me it's just about appreciating. Right? So maybe we should just say that we instead of looking this as a Josh versus Jay thing, we just appreciate our basically collective collections, if you know what I mean, and say what a fantastic experience.
Everyone's a winner.
Everyone's a winner. Yeah. I just thought it was a fun question. Anyway, Alejandro A. Best. What a fantastic name. Do you watch Boot Nerds in other languages, like Football Emotion, for instance? And while I do not speak Spanish, I do watch some of their stuff, and I know the guys, Fede and Pedro. So yeah, I do watch that occasionally. understand nothing basically, but I know the guys and they're very, very cool. Absolutely. What about you?
Yeah,
You speak any other?
I haven't seen. I understand French. I shouldn't say I speak French, but I understand French. Sort of. No, I don't really watch a lot in other languages. To be fair, I don't really watch a lot of football boot content on YouTube. I think you're probably in the same boat where it's like, you're almost football boot out.
Uh-huh.
Like, you're just like, it's enough in terms of what you do already. So to go and like seek out more content, like I'll go watch other videos when I'm just curious about certain people's opinions, maybe.
Sure.
But for the most part, I'm not like actively watching a lot of. I know a lot of the guys on the other channels. Talk all the time, but not a lot of. Can't say I'm an active viewer of a lot of other content.
I watch a lot of your stuff, but I also did before we even met up, just to stay oriented on what the general consensus on boots might be. But it happens. But I don't speak Spanish or French or whatever else is out there.
Neither.
So yeah. All right. Next question. I can't see this question. Taizei Jimizu. Hey, JayMike, last year you made a video with Joma called Best Football Boots of 2018. And back then you seemed to like the Phantom Vision. What made you change your mind? And it's a very good point because back then, both when I made a video with Jolter and with you, I actually ended up agreeing that the Phantom Vision was a decent football boot. But as you, Josh, you've also experienced, that I've kind of changed my mind on it, because the fun thing is, and I think you know this too, when you review boots, you have your own opinion, and you also have you can see what people will appreciate in a boot, right? We've talked about this a bit before, but sometimes there can be a clash between what I personally like and what I know people will like out there, which might not match with my own experience. So back then, when I made a list with you and I made a list with Jolter, I did understand that you guys liked the boot, and I said, okay, let's put it on the list. But if it's just up to me, it's not what I'm looking for in a football boot. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, I think. Well, obviously, when a new boot comes out and we share our opinions in a review, whether it's video or an Instagram post, whatever it may be, people take that as like, that is our opinion, and if we deviate from that opinion in any way at all, now we're like contradicting ourselves or something like that. And opinions change. That's just how it works. I think part of it is there's so many new boots now. So you get something like a Phantom Vision with its flying it upper and all the other tech that it introduces, but because there's something new coming, like you get the Phantom Venom now, and it has some of the same stuff that you have in the Vision, but it does it that much better. Now it kind of changes your opinion and your perspective on the Vision and the rest of the football boots versus that new thing that does everything just that little bit better. So I think it's very important to share your honest opinion when a new product comes out, but at the same time, 6 months down the line, when there's 3 or 4 new competitors to that product, to be flexible with your opinion and understand, oh, hey, maybe this new one is better, maybe the old one is better, and your opinion's going to change based on that.
Exactly. And it's basically about comparing to what is in the marketplace at the current time, right? And also, let's not, I think we can both agree that the Phantom Vision has brought some very, very good things to the marketplace. I mean, obviously, the upper is very soft, very pliable, it's super comfortable, and also quad fit mesh. I see quad fit mesh being a big deal in the future. So thank you to the Vision for that. But there's just some things that I really, really don't like. For instance, as I also said in my review of it, the color, which I think is just it's a cheap piece of, yeah. Let's leave it at that. We have a question from CM. So, how can I get these boots in K leather in California, referencing the Repula 3? Is there a way to buy it from California? And if I'm not mistaken, they have a law in California saying that you can't import K leather boots, right?
Yeah, so they're, for some reason, trying to protect the kangaroos. I don't quite understand. And it's only in the state of California. I don't think any other US state has the same ban.
No.
My understanding based on the research that I've done and talking to some of the California-based retailers that I know is that they were not forced when the ban came into effect, they were not forced to like dispose of all of their kangaroo leather inventory. So if they had Copa Mundials or Tiempos or whatever it may be left in their inventory,
sure.
they're perfectly fine to sell them and get rid of that. But from the point when that law took effect, they can't bring in any more stuff. So my understanding is that if you are in California ordering a pair of kangaroo leather boots from a US based retailer, all the US states have to abide by that law and they will not ship it to you. It's not illegal to own them in California. So that's another thing that a lot of people don't understand. They thought that this law came into place and they're going to be running around on the pitch with copas on and the police are going to come and arrest them and put them in jail. Not going to happen. I promise you're fine. But US stores are not allowed to ship to California. However, if you were to order on eBay or from Europe, like I guess you would know, and you can answer if you know the answer. I don't think you guys have to abide by those rules.
I don't know, to be honest. I just make videos.
Yeah. And I don't think it's not like it's a ban that applies to retailers and I'm sure they'd probably get fined or something like that if for some reason they weren't following those rules. But I don't think that there is like a government division at the border tracking all shipments coming into the US looking for kangaroo leather football boots. So I'm going to assume that if you ordered out of the country, or even bought them from somebody personally, you're not going to have any problems.
Or if you have family in, say, a neighboring state, Nevada, you can then, send it to Nevada and drive across the state line, get them, take them back. I mean, it's a lot of hassle for an already expensive pair of football boots, but, if you just want to get them sent to California from a retailer, then in the States, I guess, no, maybe from your friendly neighborhood boot pusher, Unisport from Denmark. But I can't make any promises. Shameless plug.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have time for one more question? Yes, we do.
Yeah. Or you could also move out of California. That's the other option.
But I wouldn't. I've been to California, and once you've been California, you don't go. You don't go. Yeah. No. California.
We got it.
Yeah. Okay. See, this is a fun name. Sibby Abraham, are football gear peripherals really that important? Do they make a significant difference? I'm a guy who likes to go to a game with just a pair of jerseys, regular socks, and cleats, so clearly an American here. Should I spend money on the better gear? By the way, great work with the podcast. Thank you, my man. Waiting for the next episode. Well, hopefully you'll be watching this one. But Josh, are peripherals important?
So are we counting shin guards? Nah, we're not going to count shin guards.
But blingy shin guards. Not everyone will, think of buying a pair of C6 agility pads, for instance.
Yeah. But I would say I definitely think that socks are important. So
yes.
If you're wearing cheap socks and you're constantly getting blisters, that's probably why.
Yeah.
I think we've also talked about this. I'm big on compression shorts. If I don't have compression shorts, I'm an unhappy person.
Yeah, it's the same for me, but with a base layer shirt, basically.
Oh, really?
I love my base layer
even when
shirts.
it's hot out?
Yeah, then I wear whatever they're called from Nike or Under Armour, just basically to wick sweat away from my body, keep me cool. Especially in the winter, makes sense to have a warmer shirt on. So yeah, I'm big on that.
Those things drive me nuts.
Oh really? I love them.
Oh my god, I feel like I'm constantly like pulling at my shirt feels too tight.
Yeah.
Underneath my regular shirt.
I mean, for me, the most important peripheral would be socks. And, get a good pair of grip socks. Could be Falga, could be PDX, Calze socks, could be Nike Grip, whatever. Then get some tube socks so you don't have to cut up your match socks. And get some Premier sock tape so you can tape the whole thing together. That for me is like really... It gives me much more value on the pitch. Then, of course, a good base layer shirt is nice to have. And... It's all about the socks, man. Socks.
Socks are important. Socks are very important.
If you don't have good socks, your game is going to suck. No.
I mean, look, for training, it's important to be comfortable. So
Sure.
Right? If your shorts or your shirt is uncomfortable, that's never good. You never want to be like, if you're playing, you're having to think about your shirt kind of like rubbing you the wrong way in the wrong spot. That's distracting, right?
Wear a base layer shirt.
Right? Order a base layer shirt. Exactly.
Yeah.
I just think it's important to be comfortable. If you're comfortable and you're wearing cheap stuff, then great. But if you're uncomfortable because you're wearing cheap stuff, that's probably part of the reason why you're uncomfortable.
Yes. And I've been saying this to my teammates for a very, very long time. Whenever they give me shit for always having new boots and new blingy gear on, because that's something I like to do, and I challenge them and I say, okay, try this, try it out. If you don't like it, fair enough. You can give me all the shit you want, but try it out. And all the people who have done so have actually ended up using those products. Grip socks, G-Form plush shin pads, C6 agility. A couple of guys from my team bought some. People who actually try them often appreciate quality because it's so obvious how much better it is and how much extra value it adds to the feeling of gearing up for a game. If you don't care about it, maybe there's not so much value to get there. But if you care a little bit and you want to feel good, I get some peripherals.
Yeah, there's something to that. You don't know what you're missing out on until you give it a try, for sure.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And the same thing goes for the Boot Nerds podcast. So if you know there are some people out there who don't listen to the Boot Nerds podcast and you think, hey, they like boots, maybe they should go and join the Boot Nerds podcast family, spread the word and make them click the subscribe button. It's going to be on the screen. It's going to be in the description. It's going to be so many places on YouTube. Just tell them to go subscribe. Click the notifications bell button so they get a little notification every time we launch a video. If you haven't done it too, what on earth are you on about? Go ring the bell and you're going to be a happy camper. Now, of course, also don't forget to leave a question in the comment section right down below so we can answer your awesome questions next time. You should, of course, also go follow Josh. Click his button right over there. Go follow us at Unisport. It's going to be right over here. And finally, of course, if you haven't clicked the Boot Nerds podcast subscribe button, what are you on? Do it. And with that said, guys, I think we'll see you next time. I'm signing off. Cheerio. Hi.
Cool. That was. There's nothing to add. That was extremely well done.
Ha det gott, dreng. Hej. Vi ses. Hej med jer.
Later.
Hej. Nu snakker vi dansk.